What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Back with another video. This time I'm going to be reviewing my full-time setup, the DJI Action 4. Now, you guys have seen me review the DJI Action 4 once before, but that was a long time ago. Right when it first came out, a lot of other cameras were coming out. I reviewed a bunch of other cameras. But for the past, I don't even know how many months, but the past few months, I have been using the DJI Action 4 full time. So I figured I'd give you a more detailed review, something where I'm going to show you not only the camera, not only the setup, but also my settings, what I shoot with. And pretty much this is the video that you need to watch if you want to start making the highest quality motovlogging videos on YouTube. I will not only be showing you how my setup is and how I film, but also other options that you can use this camera for to even elevate it even past what I do if you want to do stuff that are more cinematic than my typical vlogging style. So let's get going. And you guys might be wondering what I'm shooting on. I'm shooting on the DJI Pocket 3. I'm fully integrating myself into the DJI ecosystem just because it makes life so much easier. And some of these products are honestly just next level. First things first, as I said, I would like to show you guys my setup on the DJI Action 4. Of course, DJI has this awesome magnetic mount that I have talked about previously in other videos, and it is honestly a game changer. This is super easy. You just two clips right here, you press them, you take this off, and you can attach it to anything else to allow this camera to be super versatile. Switch it to a vlogging setup if you'd like to, or even switch it to other helmet, which is in my case, since I alternate helmets every once in a while. So let's start from the basics. How do I have my Action 4 mounted onto my AGV Pista RR? If you guys are wondering which helmet I'm using, it is a very loud helmet, which also shows you how capable the DJI is in the audio department, where it can still give you clear audio even while wearing a full race helmet. Now, I am using the DJI Mic, which you can see right here, which is wired all the way under the cheek pad right here. This is where I stuff it. I do use 2 dead cats, not even one. So this is a little life hack for you guys that do struggle with wind noise. I put 2 of those dead cats on there, and I stuff it right behind the cheek pad, barely peeking from right here. And then the good news about the DJI Action 4 is that you don't need a specific adapter. Even though DJI does make a specific mic adapter, you can use any universal adapter. Most of them will work. You guys might also notice this right here. This is a very easy to use ND filter, and DJI makes them, and they have a few options of ND filters for you to use. This is how I'm gonna get better quality, which will also make more sense why I'm using an ND filter when I show you guys the settings of this camera. But besides the camera, the mic, the little mic adapter, we have a little chin mount, which you need to mount your helmet to these little attachments where you can find honestly anywhere on Amazon, eBay, anything. And then the DJI magnetic mount, and then this is how you mount your camera. I would also like to mention that the DJI camera is the smallest when it comes to size in comparison to the competition, which might not seem like a big deal, but when you're riding a motorcycle, any bit of weight savings and size reduction will affect the way your helmet feels with these action cameras mounted onto your helmet. So props for DJI for making such an amazing compact package. Now, as I told you guys, this is super easy to disconnect thanks to the magnetic mounts. All I have to do is disconnect my audio and squeeze these 2 little buttons, which I had to use my other hand to take this off. But as you guys saw, a lot of you guys are asking how and if this will hold at really high speeds, because it's magnetic. It's not only magnetic, you guys. It attaches by a magnet and then it clips on with these 2. So it's pretty impossible to take off. Let me turn it on, show you guys the settings, and after that we'll go ride, test, and talk a little bit more about it. Another amazing feature that I really like while riding is definitely having this front-facing camera, because it just makes life so much easier, especially when you're riding and you don't have big mirrors. On my bikes, as you guys can see, the most I have on my bikes are either these little mirrors or no mirrors at all. So I have to see through the reflection right here, which, as you guys can see, is not too bad. You can see, but with this, you can clearly see that the screen is on, which means usually that the camera started recording, which is very critical for me because I want to make sure that I'm recording while I'm riding. The big screen right here is awesome, but not only to see, but also for usability. always use it when I'm transferring my files. I just swipe up and that gives you access to the front screen. It's kind of like a safety feature, which I also really like. And this way, usually I can tell the camera that, hey, I'm exporting files or doing something without having to disconnect the camera from the helmet at all. Now let's go back to the rear screen, just like that. Super easy. The screen is super easy to use. Everything is lined up for you perfectly. I set up this as C2, which is a custom mode that you guys can see. To not make it too long for you guys, these are my settings that I'm shooting at right now, which are 4K, 30 frames per second, rock steady, not rock steady, plus D-Log, which I never used before, but now that I have Steve the editor, which I'll have on in this video shortly to talk a little bit more about the DJI because I know he loves it. And these are the current settings that I'm mainly using for most of my shots. If let's say I have a video that I didn't want to color grade, because this is D-Log, as I said, if you're shooting in D-Log, then you got to expect that you're going to have to color your footage because this is a more professional setting where more professional people, unlike myself, use this setting to color grade their footage post-production. And then we can use to the first one, which as you guys can see, the first custom setting is 4K 60 rock steady as well, but everything else is pretty much on auto because this camera is honestly good enough in those settings. But in those settings, you got to be careful while using the ND filter too. You got to make sure that it's really sunny if you want to use these settings. This is, as I said, what I mainly use. This is set for the ND filter and to be color graded in post-production. As you guys can see, this is the detailed settings. Exposure is still on auto. The white balance is at 5500. D-Log, 10-bit D-Log, of course, which we talked about in the first review of this camera. This camera is capable of 10-bit D-Log, which is absolutely insane for such a small action camera. Like, look at the size of this. It's not even half the size of my hand. I am shooting in ultra wide. Since I am motovlogging, I would like to capture as much of a wide view as possible without distorting any of the imaging, which DJI does an amazing job in. Noise reduction is at 0, sharpness is at 0, but as I said, I did use this camera a lot more previously with pretty much all auto settings and it was still awesome. This is just more professional settings for the people that want higher quality content. And now, enough talking about the setup, enough talking about the settings of this camera, and let's show you guys what it can do. It's been a minute since we've taken the Rush out, so we're going to take her out for this review. As I was saying earlier, this is literally how I check if my camera is recording. I have to check every time because sometimes these cameras malfunction, which is a huge topic that I do want to mention about the DJI Action 4. This is literally the main reason where I tossed my other cameras and I was like, this is a camera I'm using because this camera has never failed on me. Which, as a motovlogger, imagine you're filming, you're vlogging, you think everything is good, and then you either have corrupted footage, or it didn't film, or it does something where, you know, you lose very important footage that you can't get back, because everything that we do as motovloggers is in the moment. Nothing is like replicated, it's not fake. Everything is real life time. If I'm riding with exotics, with hypercars, with other cool bikes, everything is real life and you can't get it back. So it's very crucial to have a camera that will never fail and you can rely on and have that peace of mind that, hey, this camera is recording, it's capturing what I want it to. And simply by looking at any reflection and tapping the huge screen that you have in the front, you can see that this camera is recording. You can even see the audio gain on top of that, which just shows you like a meter where it shows that it is also capturing audio for you. That alone is something that I wanted to mention right away from the start because it's a huge feature of the DJI Action 4, which I feel like all cameras should be reliable and should work. But of course, you know, technology, stuff don't always function like it should 100% of the time. Just like how my MV right now has a check engine light and my fuel meter is broken. I also converted Mr. Steve. He was using the GoPro and he absolutely hated it. He had like 2 or 3 vlogs. He's gonna be editing this video and he had 2 or 3 vlogs that he filmed and the GoPro didn't record or something like that. Put in the description or like on the screen what happened to your videos, Steve. But yeah, and he just literally tossed his GoPro and he was like, screw this, I'm getting DJI. And I was like, as you should, from the start.
He's using a different setup. He's like, he can't hear me, so he's just like, yeah. Motovloggers, man, we're just talking to ourselves, which is crazy like that. But I'll show you guys his setup because he's also using the DJI Mic 2, the new one, which I also have, which I'll show you guys once we get back. Which is one of the other options that you can use instead of using a lav mic like I am. I also decided to take this bike, the Enviagusa Rush, simply because it is a naked bike, which means there is absolutely no, oh hello there officer, which means that there is absolutely no air protection here to show you guys that this mic and camera is very capable of motovlogging, even with the max amount of wind noise on motorcycles. Okay, he's not staring at us, so we're good, we're good. Oh man. Where are you going, Steve? Okay, he'll be back. We'll just wait for Mr. Steve right here. This bike sounds so good, man. And I'm glad I can capture this audio with this beautiful setup that I'm using. Also wearing an AGV PCRR, a full-on race helmet, as I showed you guys at the start. I am very used to using the Action 4 right now, so another thing that I wanted to talk about is how easy it is to use. All my other cameras that I've used, I've always had some sort of finicky thing about them where I had to like either disconnect it a certain way, or when I plug it in, the transfer, like there's always something about the other cameras that bugged me a little bit. What I'm trying to say is that DJI has such a nice user-friendly interface. I don't know why I'm struggling with this word. Yeah, maybe we'll get a Supermoto someday, boys. They look fun, not gonna lie. I was saying that DJI has such a user-friendly interface where everything about it just works as it should. It's easy to start recording. I just click the quick start button, record, and the camera turns on, starts recording. Click it again, the camera stops recording and turn off. Super easy. That way I get to save battery and at the same time capture the moments that I want to capture without having to turn on the camera, turn it off, and doing all that extra step stuff. It's also, as I said, the main point about it is that it's super reliable and that it always just works. And speaking about the battery, that's another huge plus with the DJI Action 4. The battery on the Action 4 is so good that I can film 2 to 3 videos on one single battery life. That's something that I used to stress about filming one full video. If I had one long video, I'd be stressing about my battery life. And you guys remember that. I used to always be like, I have to cut the video short because my battery is about to die. Not with this camera. This camera I can easily film one full video. And if I wanted to, I can film 2 to 3 videos if they're not extremely long on literally one battery life. That's like a level of peace of mind that this camera gives you that allows you to make better content. Whoa. Listen to this bike. Okay, that hurts my ears. Come over here. This is a wireless mic that I was telling you about. So you do have the mic 2 actually. This is a new mic and you don't have to have the full setup, which I'll show you guys when we get home. You can get just a transmitter. I have the whole package, which I'll show you guys, which is similar to the mic 1, but now I have the mic 2. He's using this connected to his lav mic, and this way he can control his gain, which I can do actually with the camera, but this gives you more flexibility and more options, correct?
Yeah, and so one of the cool things about my setup is that if I'm on a meet or something like that, and I'm having conversations with people, I can just actually unplug my lavalier. And so this can actually hear my voice and everyone else's ambient voice as I'm vlogging, and then all I have to do is simply, take my lav and plug it back in when I'm ready to ride.
See, that's a much better option, as I said, if you want better, high-quality professional stuff. I personally don't do that simply because I don't have the best memory sometimes when it comes to this stuff. It's more habit. Like, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm not used to unplugging and replugging, so I don't want to risk
pretty much not plugging back my camera and then go on the ride after the meet, and then all my audio is not connected to my actual mic. That's why I don't risk doing that. But you know, if you're a newer motovlogger, this is a good habit to have and start doing, because that way, you know, when we go to meets and all that and it's quiet when I'm not talking to people, this is the perfect solution for you guys.
Makes my life as the editor much easier. Another really cool use of this too is, you guys know that I also shoot, you know, video professionally. And with the receiver that I have, I can use it with my professional camera as well. And anytime we do any sort of vlogging and stuff like that, you know, Kay's typically mic'd up with this. The interview that we did with MV Augusta on the Rush, this was lobbed up with this as well. So it's a super versatile piece of equipment that works with this, the Pocket, and the Action 4 series.
That's what I mentioned in the start of this video when I told you guys that I like the DJI ecosystem, because they have so many products that just work together and make your life so much easier. And it's just, I like that it works with everything. It works with like my Apple that I use for editing and all of that. Everything's super easy, seamless. It works as it should, which thankfully a company did something that works as it should, because apparently it's a trend where, you know, stuff fail and not work. This is one of the main reasons why I'm obsessed with the DJI products, because it's, in my opinion, peak of professional products. I'm trying to think what other awesome like key factors, because we talked about a lot of stuff, to be honest. Definitely how reliable this camera is, battery life, the settings, professionalism, if that makes sense, like how many options and settings you can use and how versatile this camera is with the magnetic mount. There's a lot of things about this camera that I can honestly talk about for a very long time, because it's not just a camera, an action camera for motovlogging. You can use it for pretty much anything. This camera is so good at so many things that it's kind of crazy that this is DJI's fourth variant of their action camera, and it's already competing with companies that have been doing this for pretty much a decade. I did also want to mention for you guys that with the Mic 2 setup, this thing right here, I have the entire setup. So the 2 transmitters and the 1 receiver. And I have that because we're going to do it in future videos where we're going to be doing pretty much putting one of those transmitters in the back right here. Another one is going to be on me. And then we have the receiver, which will adjust the gain and the audio of that. And then we can do the best quality of pure sounds, because as you can see, this is very close to the exhaust. And this is the best way you can get completely like raw exhaust noise, I guess.
Yeah, the cool thing about having the DJI Mic 2, and he's got the DJI Mic 2 2-pack, is that it actually has 32-bit float internally. And what 32-bit float does is essentially prevents the audio from, or not prevents it, but it makes it very, very difficult for the audio to clip or peak or distort, as some of you guys know it. So when you have a really loud object such as the Rush is a perfect example, or any of this guy's bikes, because they're insane, the 32-bit the 32-bit float will help so that essentially the audio won't clip. And as the editor, I'm able to go in and make sure that these levels look good for you guys on YouTube, and that we get a clean, nice sounding video essentially.
See, this is why it's good to have an actual professional point of view, because everything that he said, I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but I don't understand, but it sounds good. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he likes the DJI Action 4 and his full-time job is what I don't even, cinematography, editing, all of the above. It's like a whole list. Everything that requires like filming, media, and production he does, and he uses this camera. And he also edits my videos. So, you know, that's enough proof for you guys to get this camera. So stop messing around. Click the link down in the description below and just get yourself a camera, and you won't regret it.
Do it. I did it. I'm very, very stoked. I ditched all my other action cams.
You guys know how many cameras I have. I have a drawer full of RIP cameras, and this is my main full-time camera.
I've always been a fan of DJI. I've been using them for years and years and years, whether it be drones or what have you, lavs, action cameras, and honestly, the Action 4 knocks it out of the park. And OGs on the channel, if you guys remember, the first video I was probably in on Kay's channel was actually speaking about the Action 4.
That was the first review I did with this camera, which was, I kind of felt like a first review before I, you know, really got, I was like, yeah, let me try it, let me see how it is. And I was giving our kind of first opinions about it, versus now I've been using it for probably about a year or so. And now it's my main and only camera that I use, actually.
Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. The minute Kay showed it to me, thankfully due to DJI, I was like, yo, this smashes all my other action cams. And you can see, like Kay said, I do this for a living, and that's exactly what I choose to run. So there you go. Speaks for itself.
There you guys have it. We're both running the DJI Action 4. So I'm just showing you that this is not something that I'm just promoting because, you know, it's a sponsorship or anything like that. I'm promoting this because these are products that I actually love and use. I really genuinely just trust the entire company as a whole, which makes me feel really good about, you know, using high quality products to make the best videos for you guys.
DJI itself, they have so much R&D built into any of their products, whether it be drones, the mics, the action cams. It's like, if you look at it statistically, they are the best just because of all that R&D into every product they have. And I've always said that even before we had a little partnership with DJI. Like I said, OGs remember that video I was in. I've always been a huge fan and proprietor of DJI's products. They're literally the best. Like the DJI transmission is the best for wireless video. The drones are the best. They have commercial drones as well. The list goes on and on and on. They're like a serious company. So definitely, if you guys are trying to get into motovlogging or are already motovlogging, and I'm just starting, for example, I went with this and I have little to no issues. The UI is super easy, especially for someone who isn't really familiar. I actually had my girlfriend set this up. She had no issues with it at all.
That's funny that she set that camera up for you. That's how simple it is, man.
Just like that. And another cool thing, I don't know if you talked about it, but like it does have a portrait mode mount. So on the go, if you guys
Oh yeah, I did not mention that.
You can just unclip it. You can just right here with the quick release, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. You just go like this.
For all the Instagram and TikTok creators, you can do it this way too.
On the fly, nice and easy, secure.
Damn.
See, that's actually a really good point because I mainly do YouTube. I don't really record vertical for IG and TikTok and all that, but hey, you can use that. So thank you for also mentioning that topic.
Yeah, that's another reason why I really am a proprietor of their products, is there's so much you're able to do with these.
That's what I was telling the people, that it's honestly not just like a motovlogging camera. You can have this camera and you can use it for any action sports or even regular vlogging and motovlogging, and you can have one camera and do all of these because of the magnetic mount. You can literally just detach it, put it on something else, just how I do with my different helmets, and or if you have like a tripod and you want to vlog. So it's good for everything.
I mean, I use it on professional gigs as well, like commercials and things like that. Like because of the DJI M-Log, the way the algorithm works on the colors on DJI M-Log, you can get really close to some of these crazy professional cameras such as like RA Alexas. You can do a whole lot of these. We actually use these on a lot of commercial shoots, like on FPV drones and whatever else. So they're great cameras. I could go on and on. I really could.
He does really like that DJI stuff, which me too, you know, like there's a good reason why we like this DJI products, and that's why we're promoting it to you guys, because I don't want to promote stuff that are not the best. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you still are not sold for whatever reason on the DJI, I don't know why, but I don't really know how to end this video. Should I end it here, or is there something else that I need to talk about?
I'm gonna go eat lunch now. A lot of cool stuff coming up. Bike review happened or coming?
Coming
Very soon.
Yeah, bike should be the next video, bike reveal. So make sure you subscribe and like. Please drop a like in this video. I literally shared with you guys my entire setup, my settings. He edits it, does everything. This is all you need to start motovlogging. There you guys have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, ride safe, and don't forget DJI in the link in the description down below. Peace out, ride safe.